Okay, Kevin, we're good, so if you wanna mute it, feel free to. Welcome to council for our second budget workshop. You've had a week to look over all of what we know to be needs, what was presented as wants, and Tish and I have worked diligently to get this put hopefully in a simple format for council to understand. I thought we would start with the 2027 budget request to count that they presented at our meeting 2 weeks ago. With being said, that when we met the first time, we have several unknowns that we know are lurking out there over the next 2 years. I, myself, and Tish are very happy to be able to present this and to be able to make proposals to you that we can do some of it, we can do all of it. We feel comfortable this does not put our city financial shape in any disarray at all. So I thought we would just go down on that first page. And I know we discussed with council that we have that line there that says needs. This is all areas of the budget, the current budget, that we know is lacking some funding for various reasons. We did put out to the side why that we have these needs. And then we have that, which those total $130,500. The second column are the wants. Some of those have been, well, those were areas that we noticed would be with the rising in fuel cost, that we do need to add some money and budget lines for those departments to operate like they have in the past. So as you can go down through there, you kind of see how we broke that down. And the total there is $24,850. So I would like to start by discussion with council with what you would like to see done with what was presented there.
We're all real talkative today.
Well, I was gonna say, I don't wanna be like an auctioneer going once, twice, 3 times, we're done, we get all this. Yeah, I can do that, you
No,
know.
don't do that yet.
I won't do that yet, okay.
We're primarily on this first page.
We're on the first page, because the first page is, everything else on the second page is pretty much been covered by other funds, if we take it and use it that way.
Yes,
Correct.
yes,
So everything on the back is pretty much taken care of by the funds that were coming in. That's what that second page is.
Well, I'm getting like the part-time, full-time labor.
Oh, you're looking at
That's
payroll.
sanitation.
we're not to that yet.
Not to
We're-
that
we're
yet.
the- What I asked to look at first is the 2027 budget request. Oh,
Maybe
and
I
you
don't-
might not have that,
maybe I
I'm
don't
sorry.
have
That's that.
Go that one, I'm sorry, because yes, Danya might have, yeah.
No,
Sorry.
that's your first page.
That, well, and Danya.
That's a whole package.
But when you go to the
So we gave
salary,
you the
yeah,
whole
Yeah,
package.
I'm missing one
We're-
page.
okay.
Okay, you might be, I'm sorry, because Danya ran that off, and then we just probably failed to put that one in. Yes, what you had was probably the payroll request, and that will be our second.
Yeah.
No, it's 2027 budget request.
Yes,
Yeah,
he's
this-
got it.
That's
He's
it.
got it,
He's-
yeah.
It's just the
they're looking at this
format.
one right
The
now, for the
format's
format for
just
this.
jacked. The
Right.
format's.
The next page is the salary, yeah.
I'm missing one page, but
You must be missing the salary projections.
yeah, payroll related
Okay.
request is what I was missing.
Okay, okay, so you've got the first two, the possible pay from rainy day. Okay, we're good, we're all on the same page. So go ahead, Richie, if you were,
Well, so try to do it in one ball wax, so we all understand. So if you do the once with that, and then going with the increase, that's what, I guess the question was, Tish, where are those, did you have that all together someplace where if you
I
gave
do,
those?
I do, so if you said, okay, we're okay with all this, that adds up to $150,000 $5,350.
Okay.
And the magic number is, the first magic number is 353,200. Right there, easy peasy, those are getting rid of the stormwater fund and the excess landfill. We got $353,000, 200. Everything, that's great. You know, we've got that much to spend. So that's kind of the first level. So if you said that you were for all of those things, and then realizing that the no raise is 108. So you're down to 245 plus 130. You're down to about $96,000. 95, about 100,000, let's just say 100,000. I'm gonna make it simple. So everything at this first page and no raise, you have 100,000 left of that 353. Which would go in to the things that were payroll requests. Realize everything wasn't just a raise. There was a request for part-time to become full-time. There was some part-time pay requested. There was some promotions requested, things along those lines. So you would have 100,000, or you could say you had 121. So you had 100,000 to 221,000 that you're looking at payroll-related requests, if we're just looking at things on these pages.
Just looking over this, what's utilities for a new fire station? What is that, how's that, is that the yearly budget on that? You think it's gonna be that kind of money?
Out to the side, I believe you say that we took what they pay at the Lake Road property, we took 80% of that. Actually, we do not know what the utilities are gonna be at the new fire station, that's just an educated guess.
One wouldn't think it'd be near that here, but it may be.
You got internet, water, electric, sewer,
Sanitation.
sanitation.
Basic things I have at home.
Yes.
Yes.
That's all that is. That's just basic utilities.
And we just used a baseline figure. We're hoping it's a little too much, but in the event,
What you get into though, Tim, is they have
they have a 2-inch line.
They have a 2-inch line or a 3-inch line, what size water line? They may never, it may be exactly the same water bill regardless, regardless of the consumption because of the size of the line.
Right, I don't know what they ran to that building to.
No, we're just in numbers. We're not in construction today. Sorry.
Yeah, so we don't have,
James felt confident and comfortable with us using 80%. We did discuss this, or I did discuss
with
that
that
with
size of
Well,
building.
Using 80% of what the Lake Road one.
That does, yeah.
What's the $5,000 increase like in additional promo funds?
That was a
From 30.
request of the mayor's office, so I would ask him to answer that.
How much was it again?
5,000,
$5,000.
increase from 30 to 35.
What page you want? On the front.
Front page.
First page. Starts out, part-time, full-time labor. Down towards the bottom, Mark's asking on social media. Or, well, I'm gonna ask on social media, there's another social media contract on here. Once for 8,000, I don't know who that falls under.
That is a Board of Works. It's a contract that is already current. And if we wish to add that to our budget, we can. Otherwise, it is already a contract in place by the Board of Works, and that is currently being paid.
Which one is that? Is that the social media contact?
Yes.
Okay, that was my question.
What do you get for $8,000?
Yeah, what do we get?
It's just-
Pardon?
So what do they do?
They are doing a lot of the local, the social media for more on an everyday for cities, city events, for things going on here.
I guess I ain't seen none of it, I don't guess. I think
Pardon?
it's not really like a money.
Other cities, but I don't see how much of, is this Extol?
No,
This is a different program than
this is a
Extol?
different contract approved by Board of Works.
I mean, personally, I'm like the rest of you guys, I see none of it
I
in
agree.
our area, but, well, I did see one for Austin there yesterday on there, but it dated back to snowy weather too, so.
Mark, we were looking at going around to the different parts of the city itself
Mhm.
and in having as a block area so that you could come out. We would have some refreshments, whatnot like that, and talk about what needs they have in their area.
That's on the additional promo funds.
Yeah.
Has that program started? Have I ever seen anybody do that yet?
We have not done it yet.
No,
That's gonna be for 2027 or? yeah,
it would be for the
2027.
2027, yes. They're asking to increase that budget to the amount.
So it was already budgeted in there, but nothing happened.
No,
Thirty.
they're, if you're which one are you talking
Well,
about?
the one
Tim?
Mark's asking about the
Yeah,
additional
no,
promo
that,
funds.
this is any increases to our current budget. And as we have written out to the side, what the ask is to increase that from 30,000 to 35,000.
Right. So it's already a program in place.
It's already, that we have, the mayor and I both have promotional funds.
Right.
That only those can be
council has
used
it.
by us.
Council has it too.
And council has, yeah, sorry.
Right.
Because I think.
So it's one, it's already.
One of you wanted, yeah. Yes, you all have promotional funds. We've done some stuff out of yours for the basketball team back in 2024. Yeah, whatever you all had asked for, as far as what we pay out of that money.
Right.
One thing too, I was wanting to put up a memorial to Jim Barley down at the Beechwood Park. So that hadn't been done yet as well.
Okay, do you have any other questions on any of that, or you want to strike anything, or, what, where do you wish to go?
Go on down to the social media contract then below that one. That's the ones, what is that?
That's just to increase that budget, the line for services in the Board of Works, that amount, 8,000.
Actually, it's gonna be a line separate, be a contract
We're gonna
line,
add
it's
that
gonna
as
be
a-
in the Board of Works, and they'll say that.
Do they have an amount they already have now?
$783, I believe, a month.
Are you talking about the contract or how
Oh.
much is in the budget?
No,
None, there was none in the budget. There was none identified in the budget for that prior to this year. It was spent on a different contract out of the same line, miscellaneous services. But now that it's not miscellaneous, 8,000.
Okay.
when you go on farther down, that they, we had some money left over in redevelopment. They had pledged 100,000 some time ago. So that's where there's some banquet hall needs that we're hoping to use that left, because that was one of the things on our wants. So we have allocated, or looked at that we can use that from redevelopment to hopefully take care of some of those needs. We also, Ed, our new animal shelter person, had They need a separate room for cats because they are doing so much more at our animal shelter. And we have come up with a way, we had a lady that gave a nice, not one, but 2 donations out of her sister and brother-in-law's estate. And she designated that money go for the cats. So we have spoken with her and worked out that the area where one of the offices is now will all be turned into the area for cats. And her son, who also is a union person, has labor that will come as a community project and help with that. So we have hooked Ed up with the son of the lady that gave the money. And she was fine with us going ahead and buying a building, one of those smaller that you see around, to be able to move the office to, for Ed and the 2 workers down there. So we got all of that approved with her, that she would be, because when she gave the donation, we assured her it would go for the cats. And she's fine with how we said we would spend that. So that, to explain those on down there where we have no money, you know,
Yeah.
over there, not available, and
So what's the banquet hall?
there are
needs?
different things there. There's for caterers, we would like to do something where we could some way, somehow just get a sink area. They're looking into the drain system there. They've had an engineer look at it. You know, you try to fix one thing or add something else happens. So we
sure.
have had somebody looking at that. But since we're not trying to get that budgeted to City Hall and using redevelopment, we kind of put that on the back burner for now. Because we have caterers like Jan Collins that does a lot of catering. She doesn't even have anywhere back there to wash a spoon.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
that kind of thing. So it's an inconvenience to anybody that does those bigger
Sure.
events.
Yeah.
So that's what we're hoping, even if
Okay.
we're not wanting a big commercial kitchen, we just want an area where they could clean up a little and
Yeah.
wash some of their
Understand, just
the
curious.
utensils before they leave.
Okay.
So that pretty well is that first page. A lot of these things you see over there as needs. We knew there would be needs. Every 4 years, we have election expense that, as we've told you, the past 3 years, we use that as our grant line. You know, we keep money in there just to remind us that every 4 years we will be paying. And so that's why, after speaking, we know we've got to add 35,000 to that line, because I believe that was one of the lines that was cut last year when
Yes.
we made our budget work, you know, when you all, we got prepared for what was coming down the road.
Yeah, okay.
So we know we have to add that. Hoping there might be some extra there, but again, we like to go a little high, then try to find it somewhere else. So, any other questions on that?
Well,
And Richie probably had a work call, so if you want, because I know he was kind of wanting to look at these and payroll and what that and salary would do. I
What
thought,
about this second page?
that's what I thought, we would touch on that while Richie's gone. As you know, we had a lot of, there were other needs that came from the parks. And he was able to get some quotes and give us an idea of where he would be spending the money if council so chose to give him extra funding. Most of this we can pay from rainy day this year.
Yeah, but I have some questions here, like this Lindy Graham drain softball, they had one put in 2 years ago.
Okay.
And now they're saying it's not working.
Okay.
I think it just needs dirt in there and fill it up. 'Cause I was down there when they was doing it. It was in my first or second year in office. And they were putting it in. Now all of a sudden, it's not
It's
working.
still not draining. Maybe we still have the problem. Randy had a family member that passed away,
Yeah, I
and I
knew that,
couldn't call him today. But again, that's not last night. It was young, his father-in-law.
Well, we need to check into that. You know that's been done.
Yeah, I was down there when they were doing, Josh
Yeah.
Paul's the one that put it in, or helped put it in, and somebody was helping him. So, cause they already had the drain tile, all I had to do was stick it in the ground.
Well, and that's, again, Randy presented that. He had asked for 100, when I met with the mayor's staff and the mayor first, they had just requested 150,000. Now, we could pay some of that out of this year's rainy day. We can take most of everything out of there of what he wants. I know you had some questions on, when I spoke with Rick earlier, on that, the roof over the bleachers, and I think that is on hold.
Hope so.
We
Good.
had
Need
hoped
to
to
be
get,
on
and we can very well make it on hold and address it next year again.
Oh, yeah, because they still gotta fix the water that runs onto the field.
Right.
I
And
could, I
that's,
could go down there right now and probably get 15 teams to play, but what for the darn insurance? That's the problem.
Yeah.
I had 15, 16 teams every year for, God, 12 years.
and we are going to be meeting, the mayor and I will be meeting in the next week with our insurance carrier to explain all that.
Yeah, cause we used to use waivers whenever nobody sued
Well,
us.
I take the stance as the clerk treasurer, as I'm trying to protect the liability of the city, and I'm doing what our insurance agents has
Oh, I understand. My
instructed
wife
us
said
to
we
do.
had insurance for several years.
Right,
Then
right.
they
And
said we didn't need it no more.
And
so
we're
we was
also
fine.
checking in, and I've asked them to check in on what does one of these policies. I know there was someone that got a policy recently, kind of last minute, and the person that sold that to them has reached out to my office, and I passed that on to Jill Baker. So, because she had mentioned if these people come, we do it here for our banquet hall,
Mhm.
and especially if there's alcohol served. So we have stipulations, and I'm going off of what our insurance agent
Well,
tells
I
us.
understand, and I had no problem. We had our deal with them. They mowed the grass, we got the line, we rug the field, and we had to pick up garbage and lock the records.
Yeah.
That was the deal that we had with the park department.
Right, and things have changed as
Oh, I
far,
know.
especially with liabilities in today's world. We're
Where
definitely
everybody
in a
wants to
suit.
sue everybody.
We're
for everything.
absolutely, yes, we've got, I heard that word just in the last 4 or 5 days. So, we want to keep our exposure to a minimum if we can.
Oh,
So
I understand that.
just so you know though, Rick, I appreciate that comment, but we are looking into it to do what maybe we could do. Because
Yeah, because it's a shame that field just sits there empty. There's a lot of memories.
we would
down
love
there.
to keep it active all the time,
Most
you
of
know,
us adults
just like-
played down there at one time or the other. I know we went to high school down there. We had senior league down there. I mean, it was almost every night somebody was there.
No, that's right.
Right.
Church softball.
Neil Peacock would be rolling his grave if he knew that happened, man.
I
So,
went down and
do-
took a look at that stuff actually here in the last few days. Like you said, there's a lot of history with that old bleachers and stuff when it used to be packed when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
There's nobody that sits on them now.
There's
Well,
no
they put
need
lawn
to
chairs
spend
up
it
there
unless we're gonna have some more
Actually, it
things
needs to be
going on.
torn out and about 4 foot high couple bleachers set there.
That's what, and we haven't had the chance to talk to Randy about some of that. Jill had some really neat pictures where the canopies are in triangles like other places are using in
Right, they're
today's
using a
age,
net,
so.
a catch net, or I've got them around my RV, just to block the sun. It's a black awning and it'll, I've been to all these
So I
balls
think we can
places.
scratch
I
that
think you can scratch
31,000, I don't think, and
I would.
again, that's just, this can all be taken out of rainy day, and
Mm-hmm.
same with these other ones down here by our animal, those you see there, there's 4.
Or that,
And there's the diamond box, the truck toppers, drains, and hydraulic lift gates. Some of those
Oh, that's
numbers are
good.
×3, like the hydraulic lift gates, they need those on all 3 of their vehicles. So when you see that 9,411, that's ×3 over there. It's
Oh,
really
okay. That's
3,000, whatever, 150, somewhere in that range, 140.
Well, that's 3, look at this.
Yeah, so this is what was presented to us of the animal, and we thought, well, if we can we know the drains down there have to be fixed, and we are looking at that. We have had the gentleman that did the drains originally, the mayor's heading down there looking at them and looking at what can be done, because from my standpoint, the job those people have, we're making their job much harder because it's taking them 3 and 4 hours a day just to clean because of the way the drains aren't draining. So,
Oh, I've been to the fall festival last year when, when the.
well,
bridges
that, now
got
that
soft.
was at the parks. We're talking, yeah, I know here where we are on
State road.
drains, we're on the animal.
Oh, that's
They're
okay, yeah.
cleaning those,
I'm over
yes.
there quite regularly.
Those
Okay.
drains are at the animal shelter?
Yeah. Pardon?
Those drains are at the animal shelter? Those drains are at the animal?
Yes, down here, we've got animal
Okay.
on 4
Got-
different,
Gotcha.
amounts.
Yeah, gotcha,
And
sorry.
it's our suggestion that we go ahead because we have 375,000 in a rainy day that is budgeted. We haven't spent it. We never want to spend it all. That we go ahead and get this is about 32,000, I think, whenever I have totaled it. Take that out of our rainy day that is already budgeted, so that doesn't have any impact on next year's budget. We would do the same thing. We have found that when you see City Hall, new roof, it's the banquet hall. It's not the whole City Hall, thank you.
Oh,
because-
that was my question.
well, yes,
What
and
you
we
were
have
earlier.
worked on, we're getting quotes on that now, and at this time, what I've been told is they think this 100,000 that we've had 3 other people here, is the best way to go at this time. Again, it's my recommendation, working with Tish on all these numbers, to take that out of this year's rainy day.
And also with the 20-year warranty.
Is that, what is that? Is that a flat roof on that part of the building?
Yes.
Is it leaking?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's, what it's doing is, we had those curtains made when the redevelopment, and it's leaking on those, so it definitely needs to be fixed.
I have one more question on the park department. This side by side for snow and tree removal.
That needs to go. We don't need that.
I thought, yeah, cause I thought the street department had one of them things.
Well, they've got,
No,
they've got a skidster or a front end loader on a little tractor, does the same thing. Actually better than a side by side.
okay, is that for the Parks Department, Tim,
Yeah.
that you're talking
The
about?
car, yeah, he's moved back.
He's got $30,000.
I know he's back there, but you're saying the Parks
This is-
Department
this
has
is-
one of those? Because it was my
Yeah.
understanding,
Parks has no.
Oh,
They
no,
don't
I
have
thought
one.
street
They don't-
department, they had a
well, the
lawnmower.
street, they're out cleaning the streets at the time we needed at the park,
I
so
would
that
go
was his
for a
point.
skidster or a tractor with a front end loader, is they gotta have that, but not a 30,000. Though, that's not a heavy enough piece of equipment for anything like that.
No, he's
Okay.
wanting
Idea
something
is
comparable to
we-
what he
we
used
decided-
last year,
we
and he had to
decided
use
two
Bill, Bill Meadows brought his in from home, and I think he's wanting something
That's where they
comparable.
got that idea.
Was that the way you understood that, Tim, when you
I
presented?
understood it, Yeah, well, number one, it's got doors and heat in it.
Okay,
Some do, some don't.
This one would.
Well, you, that Kubota, the water
Everybody
department, and it
everybody
had,
had one for about 12,000 that don't have any heat in it. You can do the same thing.
well, we had that Kubota, and we still have it at the water department. It's got snow blades in front. We clean our own snow out there at the water plant. That just probably just need something like that.
So the Parks Department does not have whose equipment were they using last week? They had a skidster down in Lake Iowa doing some landscaping stuff, flowers. and
They
stuff.
have their own skids too.
The water department has a skidster.
No, Parks Department.
No, that, for what I know, they don't have one.
I apologize for
You said they
oh, we
did.
knew that was, yeah,
The,
where we at.
look at, they're not wanting this,
Most-
we're over on the second page.
Most of that,
The drains here, they question that, and they're not wanting this 30,000 side by side. They think we should be able to get one for 12. Is that what you're saying?
probably, I don't think you even need that, cause it's gonna,
Then-
that thing's gonna be tore up all the time, I'm telling you. The
So
fellas,
for
they
this
wear them
one's
out,
got
pushing
heat,
snow with it.
one sheet without. We did scratch the 31,000 there, Richie, in the bleachers, because we think we knew there was gonna be a plan A coming from our parks director, but we've been unable to get with him
To get
have
this set up.
discussion. Yes, so,
But most of that trail system, you can actually use a pickup truck on with a blade on it. Or get a pickup truck and put a smaller blade on it. I mean, I know there's some narrow areas, but for the most part, you don't need it. You don't need anything special.
so. I'm
I'm
making
out
notes
now.
on this, again, that,
I'm out on that thing.
okay,
the walking ways will actually, it gets wider and it gets narrower. So there's areas you could do. There's there's also areas you can't do.
But those pieces of equipment, it sounds like a wonderful idea, but it's not the piece of equipment like a skid steer and stuff. It will not stand up to that abuse.
With those three items that removed, the drain side by side and the roof over the bleachers, that takes that dollar amount down to 30,000.
Is what that total is there?
Yes,
Up at the
it was
top.
100, if you took those three items off.
Is that just for parks?
I'm just looking at parks.
Okay.
I'm just looking at parks.
Yeah, I told them up for the Lindsey Graham thing, they put drainage there a couple of years ago.
And
Only
And we need to get more information about that. Cause I was out there when they put them drains in at that softball field. The water still stands, I just think it's just low. It's been low since they built that over there.
And I do agree with the gazebo, man, that thing needs to be rebuilt today. At Lake Iowa.
So everybody's good with the Lake Iowa redo of all three of those things? The gazebo, the bridge, and the fountain.
Well, I don't know about the fountain. I'm talking to Randy there, that it's not a necessary thing. I thought it might have something to do with some of that
Turn it over.
algae and stuff that's growing there. And I thought it did, but, helps circulate oxygen, but he said no, so
Well,
if it's not a needed thing, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
but all these other things they want to do, like the gazebo, the bridge, I have no problem with that. But
No,
once they
they have
keep
to.
using wood, we're gonna have to repair every 4 or 5 years. One day you hit some kind of synthetic lumber there.
Well,
It would
I
last
tell Mark,
forever.
I've had a synthetic deck on my house and I ended up tearing it off a while back because it didn't last either.
Well,
It fades in the sun and
I've never.
it's terribly hot in the summer.
It is terribly hot in summer.
Wood, if you just get some old Thompson's water seal every fall and be sure and squirt her down with that,
It'd be better.
it'd be a lot better.
Well, okay, as long as they start doing that, then that'd be fine.
But you gotta maintain it. But the synthetic stuff is just, it's not all it's cut up to be. And I'm afraid when cold weather, if you do have anybody down there, kick it
How-
real hard, it'll break like glass.
Okay, well, see, I never
Yeah,
had
then
it
you got
before. I'm
some-
glad you had it before.
And if you see out there to the side under our notes, we had said what we would do on this would we would be using that extra lit payment we have received to repay the rainy day. So we didn't just propose these things without a way that we knew we would be able to put funds back in our rainy day. The same way we have done down on the roof at the bottom, that we would be using stormwater, the repayment there. Now, again,
That's a 2025, I'm sorry, that's 2025. Stormwater situation is in 2025. Out of their regular budget, they spent just under 102,000. And they'll be able to pay that back. They'll have enough money to pay that back because they're gonna get pulled out of the city proper and be their own enterprise. When that happens, they'll have their own checking account, their own thing. And so they gotta have enough money to make it 6 months because they get 2 installments a year from the county, with the stormwater fees. So they have to have enough money in to get them to their June distribution. But they should be able to pay that back. They owe there was a grant match paid out of MDH restricted of just under 78,000. They'll pay that back. And then that gives them this year, and then next year they should be able to pay back this year plus what was spent in 2004. And that won't tie, that still gives them 50% more than what they're, actually almost double what their budget was, even after they pay those back. So they should be fine on their own to go ahead and pay part of that back. Probably push it and pay most of it back, but just to keep it a little bit easier, wait till that June payment before they pay back the other stuff that they owe the city. That's one-time money, can be used for one-time things, like a roof. That's a good thing, you don't want to put that in the payroll. We don't want to say, oh, we have an extra, because you're only gonna get it 2 years.
On that pump at the lake. Now, I was told that the pump was stolen. Is it stolen or broke?
I don't know.
I thought they had some problem with something being stolen. I do know, and I know I had somebody ask me about when they gonna get that going again, because they did like seeing it when they were there. So I'm thinking, again, these are all Randy questions and, you know, this is just what he presented as
Oh,
need, yeah, you
I
know,
understand.
yeah, as needs that he saw the night when he came 2 weeks ago.
But if
There are
it was
two pumps there.
stolen, then why put another one back in? If it was stolen one time, won't it be stolen again?
It's- In today's world, I'm gonna say yes.
Or is
Am I
it broken?
thinking right? There's 2 pumps down there right at the end of the street, your street. And one of them's not working, one of them is somewhat, is that where it
One
was?
on the-
I don't even know where it was.
The one on the little end, smaller end of the lake, it works. The one on the big area by the gazebo, it doesn't work. That's the one.
That's the one they
That's
think was
this one.
stolen.
Well, I was told it was stolen, then the other night it said it was broken, so I'm just trying to figure out which is which.
I don't have a problem with the, $2,700 pump, because aesthetically it is. And
If you're gonna do it at the gazebo and bridge, you might as well put that in there with that side.
well, that gazebo, I'm not sure about the bridge. I haven't been out on it. That gazebo,
I'd say it's in the same
Bridge
shape.
it's a bad liability, that
The bridge is
gazebo.
as bad a shape as what the gazebo is.
I haven't been out on it.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if you were here or not, but we said we would put these, we proposed putting them in rainy day. Or, possibly it could be split, or if you wanted to just give more money next year. We felt like this was the best use for our money this year. And
This
then we
year,
didn't
and
have to
have to-
take out of our pot to give, we all know everything repairs, maintenance is the life of anything. So that is why we broke it down that way.
That's like all the animal shelter stuff, that still comes out of that lid, what's left over from the top.
The whole total was,
32, 376, it's out there. too.
Is way down.
I would like to go back to what Tim was talking about on the side by side. I want you to know that basically, we just have really 2 full-time employees from parks. We have new part-time employees that are retirees. And we have typically 1 or 2 interns to try to help. These guys are just there for maybe 6 weeks. Some of them are going to balls, and things of that nature. But they put down snow and tree, but to me, that's a lot more. And that's 30,000 is not just for one piece of equipment. That is a piece of equipment, plus a lot of other accessories such as the blade or snowboard, or whatever you want to put on that thing. And, but just to be able to have something, they've got a golf cart now. And it doesn't, it's a golf cart. It's an old golf cart. So
Those
this,
don't hold much more than a golf cart. I've got one that's sitting in my garage. I usually use my golf cart around the yard.
I'm just letting you all know in the back, and it's got a dump bed for it, so you want, we were buying mulch there in the bulk. And so when you buy mulch in bulk, you can load those backs up and just take it where you want and dump it. I mean, it's just one of those accessory things, and they're, about $11,000 for it. That's what we paid for the one here at this place. So it's not that much money. We've certainly cut back on some of the accessories if you don't want to buy all the accessories.
According to this flyer he handed out, this picture shows a 2026 Ranger XP 1000 North Star Edition starting at $29,999.
Well,
There's no accessories on it. It's a picture of a full side by side.
that was not what we were talking about.
So you're
And
talking
again,
about
I
something
don't-
totally different now besides this thing?
I mean, if they give you that, that's something that I have not seen.
Randy
Because
gave it.
we were
to us
talking,
at
we were
last.
talking about what we had out here.
And I'm always working with all the department heads, and I don't know that we can find enough scraps in his budget this year. I mean, that's a possibility that we could find scraps in his current budget, and then that's a moot point to this council, because if that's what you wish, I'll throw that out there.
I bet there's
We
about
got-
30,000 scraps from parks.
No, there very well might not be. That's why we thought take it out of rainy day, but we just, I kind of need to know what,
Tim, to your point, about trying to clear the snow, I mean, if you take a front end loader, and they're heavy, and that, I don't know how thick they made that asphalt, but you're right, I don't think that kind of equipment would work, particularly with what we've had in the past, we have them on the streets. So the streets have to come before walking paths.
Well, it's true, there's not gonna be a lot of walkers. I think I had one gentleman tell me he liked it on there so he could use his snowmobile. My point is, it just will not hold up to that kind of use, so that piece of equipment will not hold up to that use. Yeah, maybe a 2 or 3 inch snow, but anything much over 6 inches, it's gonna burn it up. You'll be changing the belt on it that evening.
I'm sure you're right.
your recommendation to our parks director would be to purchase what, as you have a
I would,
plan B?
I would
for what he
purchase,
wished?
if I needed anything, I'd get a little Kubota tractor or something with a front end loader on it, or, something you use for other things too, as well as. That's just a lot of money for a toy.
Okay,
And that's what it
any
is.
other comments or?
I mean, I took my own Kubota tractor out for two winters in a row. And I've got a 34 horsepower, and those things, them are $30,000. And not counting the other accessories. And, we need something stronger than that, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your piece of equipment is way more rugged than this piece of equipment.
Right.
This piece of equipment is not rugged enough to do what you're talking about doing.
Well, the water department has one, as you well know, and I did use that to push snow.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I just spent a lot of time on that darn thing.
Yeah.
And it had a heater in it too.
It did, I think.
That was a skid steer, Rick.
Huh?
That was a skid
No,
steer.
but they do have a.
No, it was a Kubota.
Oh, it was a
The water
Kubota.
pump got a Kubota. It doesn't have a heater in it.
It's a Kubota side by side. It's a diesel.
No, it's just a one door or, 2 door with a dump bed.
This Kubota is a diesel too, not a gas.
That's why I was wanting to see them have something that you can, it's an auxiliary, so you can take your, you can have stuff you're gonna use up all the time. You can't put things in a front dump bed, in a tractor. I've tried doing that, you hit a bump and stuff falls out. And, so.
Okay, if we're cutting the drains for 8,500, what if we tell him to go with a Kubota and move? You want to take all, if you're taking the bleachers away, that's 31,000 we're saving out of there. Is a Kubota with a blade on it 35?
I think you can shop, I don't 100% disagree, but you can shop around and get something a whole lot cheaper than that piece of equipment right
Oh, yeah, it looks like excess there.
there.
Well, I agree with that, but how, do we want to leave him something in that spot coming out of that lit to spend for that kind of equipment and decide what that amount we want to give him?
Well, I think he needs to do some research and come to city council meeting and explain to us what he wants.
I'd look at the ProFit Mule, Kawasaki.
Well, that's something like that is
nature is
that
half that price.
price, and then you got your accessories with it, yes.
And you gotta buy your accessories to go with it, which that don't come with accessories either.
No, that gets pretty standard right there, that one is.
But,
And that's what we were talking about, was that.
that would
Yeah.
maybe be, you don't need heat and air on the thing. That's what they make insulated coveralls for.
So I'm good with not having the bleachers and I'm good with the drain. I just think they probably need some kind of vehicle, some kind of equipment. If we're gonna spend, might as well spend it out of this so we don't have to worry about it next year. But I don't know how much you wanna leave in there, or you want him to come back when we gotta have it done by September.
Today.
Well,
Basically, this was
a
a,
rainy day is separate.
Separate, that's what I'm saying, it
Yeah.
fluctuates. So we could say, but I don't know what to leave in there for him.
Anything budgeted, we're meeting with the DLGF on August the 14th,
Okay,
so
so we're getting close.
that was, yes, and we have.
But rainy day, we could come back and say that's in there, we're gonna spend it this.
You're exactly right, you're
So,
correct.
so right now, you're saying there's $30,700 for these other items, not including the three that have been mentioned, would be things that you would be comfortable with Jan authorizing him to move forward on. And then if he wants a piece of equipment, you want him to come back and ask with some different numbers.
With something different, yes.
Okay. And the items at the bottom that didn't have dollar amounts, would that fall under that same thing? I don't know if those are things that would be planned to be done this year or next year, or if they were just things mentioned.
At the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Beechwood Park field work, the
Oh,
field
bench
work, bench
replacement throughout, like our years, there's, bench replacement throughout the parks. You count up how many.
It's gonna be a process over all
And
years.
the playground equipment, we know is very expensive, because we've just replaced that down at Lindsey Graham. So all those we were unable to get numbers on, so probably we just would look at that next year, appears. Because it's not gonna go away, the cheeseburger's still gonna be there.
Cheeseburger's kind of iconic. There's a guy in Louisville that has his whole yard decorated with that stuff. You ever see that?
We'll call him, we got his
But
number.
my daughter did
Well,
say
he'll
she wanted to
probably
buy
buy
it if it was leaving, if the
Yeah,
hamburger was
exactly.
leaving, she
That
wants
thing's
it.
worth a property.
So let's go with that, and if he has that stuff, he can bring it, but he can bring us that equipment. Because rainy days fluctuate, I mean, we can play with that with money that's still in there, it's like,
We've got 375,000.
Until we get to the end of the year, then it
then it
becomes,
becomes, yes,
it's
it's gone,
cash
yes.
reserves and it's part of the grease for the wheels. for the
So
future.
Randy needs to come back with something to come back into that.
Hey, I just have one question on that. You were discussing it earlier, but I've just been waiting to act before we close this out on the parks. That 13.5 on the gazebo there, did he know for sure that he's got an estimate to get that done for that? I know some of his stuff when he spoke to us, he didn't have real hard
Yeah.
estimates.
I think, Kevin, to your question, yes, because he texted me that, as he got them, let me look in here and see if I can find that.
I emailed him the other day, but then I guess he hadn't responded back with the family death there. I didn't.
Yes. Yeah, he, on July,
I didn't know he had more than one.
July the 16th, he sent me the price for the gazebo, the price for the bridge, and the price for the bleachers. But I knew the mayor's office was already talking about Plan B for the bleachers. And with the sickness in his family, they had not had time to address that.
Okay. But he doesn't feel comfortable he can get it done for that price though.
That's what that's the price he sent me to put on our want list.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had. That's one question I had on any of that.
Okay.
Is that the city doing the labor part of that, or is that?
I can't answer. I doubt it, because we don't have enough city employees. Like the mayor told you, we've only got 2 full-times and 2 part-times, and our intern down there is gone. I mean, they're gone for the summer now. So it's no, I'm gonna answer no, but I can stand corrected.
Sounds so reasonable. What I'm getting
Well,
at.
okay.
Depending on what they have to do, like, that's just redecking what's already there, new grading, maybe.
And we also, on those bottom
Framework, maybe.
part there, we wanted to make council aware that we have found money in, like we said, with finding scraps possibly for something for the Parks Department or any other departments, some needs that we have been told. We've listed those at the bottom. All of those have money, scraps we came up with. We hate to call them scraps because it's money, but for them to proceed and the way that will all be paid. So we just wanted to make you aware.
On paying using existing budget department funds, is that what you're?
Mm-hmm.
I got a question.
Okay,
Why a $5,000 electronic podium? What's
it's
the-
electronics for the podium. So, yeah, it's just some things because our podium in the banquet hall is, and we're thinking it's going to be less than that, but the podium's already there, but the electronics to it are very outdated. So that was an estimate given to me whenever I,
Just seems like a lot. I mean,
on needs.
I looked at some electronic podiums up. You can buy some brand new ones for $24.99 or $17.29. But it's just $5,000 just to put a sign on a stand. That just seems like a lot of money.
I think it's got to do with the PA system in there.
Okay.
If Stacy maybe was here, she could answer that, but I kind of thought too, it's a podium. And then I was told, no, it's that it's so hard to hear when you're in there, that it has to do with that, with getting a better PA system.
So is it
It's not the electronic podium, it's electronics to the podium.
that has nothing to do with the PA system. It would just be what operates it.
Okay, do I need to, I'll have to update that, but we did find the money,
I'm
whatever it is.
assuming it's some kind of board so that when
Oh,
somebody
yeah,
comes
I
in, they
understand
hook up
that,
to.
but $5,000 just seems like a lot of money for something like that. When you go buy a brand new one. For half that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah.
All that stuff. I'm assuming.
Mhm. Yeah, I just had written down electronics for podium and the numbers I was given.
On the garbage truck, we need another garbage?
We
What
need,
kind is that? What
It
kind of truck is it gonna be?
it's a backup, it's a second truck, because there have been times that when we run double routes, or when we have one down, or if that one goes down, there's been a couple times it's had to be in for minor repairs, then it had our guys out there.
So what happened to our $25 add-ons to our current trucks? That was supposed to take care of that situation.
They're on-
25.
They're on there, but again, we have, it's an actual emergency deal. Right now, we're needing to look at a second truck, because typically these trucks have a 5 to 7 year life before they kind of start having a lot of problems. And we have had either 2 or 3 problems already with 400,000 miles. And it put us behind. So that's why we began coming at that $18 range fee. Instead of at $10. It's $10, we've been able to, we pretty well break even.
You're right, we've saved a lot on our landfill, as what we announced, they're going to have it, because we're hauling our own. So we have excess in there. This year, we're gonna have 110,000 left in that line.
We took over the transit. In other words, we were hauling off, giving that to another company to haul all of it over to landfills. So once we bought our own containers and truck, we were able to save this kind of money.
Anything
On
else on those two pages?
that particular piece of it, on the sanitation, we haven't been able to recoup that expense yet, though, have we? Because we had to spend the money for the haul truck and the containers, because that was only costing us $50,000 to get it transferred, right?
No, no. I could look back, Kevin, I don't have those numbers, and Tish did a 9-month synopsis on our sanitation.
And it was still running about 90% of the total budget. But with these savings, it should be closer to the revenue, will be really close to the operating budget for next year, once we take this 102 out. But that does not go back to answer your question. That is not the money to recoup everything that was spent to get this started. The trash cans, the garbage truck, all that stuff. No.
Right, I just going by what we were paying the company to, what we had a contract with them for to haul it. I mean, I know that it was gonna take a while to equal that out, because just with the truck, that was 107,000 we budgeted for that, if I remember correctly. guys to haul it. So, and he was eating all the fuel and stuff, so now we gotta provide the fuel and everything to haul over there.
And the manpower.
Right.
Yes, the landfill charges last year that we had budgeted were $227,900. And, we'll be able to at least, we'll be able to at least take 100,000 off of that, plus leave money in sanitation for extra gas and other things that have occurred because of them hauling their own, where they need more money in other places. So that was just the savings that the city is hauling it themselves.
And not just the savings, I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is amazing.
I've never heard no complaints about the garbage cans. Everybody seems to be really, really liking them. I've never filled mine up all the way yet.
What's your
Apparently I'm doing okay.
Yeah, but she just wants to know your address.
Yeah, it'll be full tomorrow.
At least I can shut my lid.
Yeah, I've seen some that haven't had lid shut. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, okay, so that's, now, for the one page, the payroll related request, or are we ready to go to that?
Yeah,
Thank you for your answers, I thought we were going to try to do it as a whole. So,
Well,
The top half of the payroll related request was everything that was requested in the meeting, plus a couple other items. But then, these are things that you saw presented. The one that, and I'll just start on this, the one that was presented by the police for the 6 officers, that was 6 officers getting $3,000, 18,000. That would have cost almost 45, but it caused another problem. So we could just, Richie, would it be okay to say that's just not an option?
you can't do that.
It can't do it. I put it on there because that's what he requested. It caused those first-class patrolmen to make more than the lieutenants and the sergeants.
And captain.
And $1.50 less than the captain or something. It was right there. So, that's not an option. So that 44,740 is not in play. Everything else up there is in play. If you choose to, do any or all of those or none of those are all your options. Those are all in addition to a raise.
Everybody's really quiet. So our top number is 353,200. That's the right number,
That's the one that doesn't add to the budget.
budget at all, right?
Right.
That's our bottom line. So if you have the 130,500 is the needs from the front page, correct?
Right.
yes,
That's without the 24,855 on the
Right.
ones. So then you come down, and if you look at get away from the ones, if you go to the salary and you give, which is what I did over here because I talked to the chief, if you give all city departments 3%, you got to add the 108.85 onto that. You give all the departments 57,150 at the 3%, and then you give this prorated 3,016.84 to all the fire and all the police. Am I right at 158?
So the 50, what you're looking at, so 57,150.
For those, and then you get rid of the police and fire because they're out of that, because they take the prorated of 3,016.84. Those two numbers,
The
22.5,
25 and the 78.
and that gets to be 158.250. That's on salaries before any ones at all. If you did it that way, you've got those guys to $60,000. The
Yes.
first class everywhere, and
That
then
would
everybody's
be-
prorated around.
That would be 158,250. correct?
Yes, and then so you add that to your 130,500.
Yes.
And then that leaves you 64,450. Am I right? I was in it real quick, but I wrote down different numbers.
Let me jump back to my other spreadsheet.
Do your other spreadsheet real quick.
Okay, so we have done, we're starting with the 353. We've done the 135. we're taking out the 24, we're not putting it in right now.
Right now, yes, take it out.
And then we got the 108,
And you got the 108 base.
okay, and now you want to also do this 158, 250.
Yes, and then 57, 150. And that's all city departments.
Right, that's
police
158, all three of those added together,
department. Yes, that's all them together.
yes. That would take us to a negative 43. That would be, so again, if you're trying to stay between three, that's the negative 43, then,
Where's the negative 43 come from?
well, 108 plus 158 is 266. And if you take away 130, 500 from
So
353.
negative 43
Yes, negative.
is what that is without any ones.
Right.
So that's where we're at without any ones. Is
Right.
negative 43,000, right?
Right, correct. If that's the options that you chose, that would be
And
negative.
that's what I was wanting to see what that number is. So that's what the number is without any ones, all the way down the board, all the way here.
Right. Correct.
So that's what we gotta look after. So if you go back and you do the 3% across the board without raising first class patrolman or first class firefighter incrementally, what's that do to it with the 108,
Give me
121?
1 second, and I will tell you.
That's 130 or 230.
Is that, okay,
She's
that's,
got down
that,
here,
okay, that's
3%
okay,
across
that's
is
230.
230.
Oh, I'm stupid. I'm sorry.
So something's not adding up to me.
Something's not adding up to me either. Here we go.
That's why I say that's not right. Because you should still be, because that's not, because you take away these numbers here out of this, it's only $36,000 difference.
Which is nominal, that you can take that animal and say that's really not an expense at 7,500 because it's a one-time thing. And so that would be the extra in the
You'd be-
lit
that-
or
that would-
whatever,
That would be
that's,
your quarantine building up there that you could say is out of there, right?
say that.
The
less-
quarantine building, is that 7,500?
Yes, yes, so yeah, if these, that would kind of make that a wash, and so what you're saying is the needs, the no raise, and
The 3%,
3%,
and that's without any wants.
right. Now, I can make it just a smidge more confusing for you.
Please, I'm fried.
Okay.
Because if you get that basic
You're in
down, then
charge.
you can go to the wants, and then you can go look at the wants and see what you can live with and what you can't live with.
Okay, and then I'm gonna be able to come up with a few more pennies because, let me open this up. Because when we do all this, I have to pick someplace and go forward. So I took this year's payroll, kept everybody the same, added things the
Yeah.
state required, health insurance changes, all that, and went forward. One of those I did not remove, and I won't say, I don't know if you call it intentional or not, but I didn't remove it because I have to have something to start with, was stormwater. So if I go in, realize stormwater is in this raise, and that's $8,100. So there's $8,100, and the no raise has $8,100 related to stormwater, which it's not gonna be there. So there's an extra $8,100 that we can factor into that.
Okay, so now,
Actually, 3% raise, it would be, no, yeah, just
Yeah.
8,100.
8,100.
Let's stick to that.
So let's stick to that number. So if we say that the police and fire raised together is short 36,300, if you took one car off of their thing and moved it to salary, roughly, you take that 36,300 and you can still give them that prorated rate, you're back to even, correct?
Except you've lost a car forever.
Well, you have lost a car for,
As long as it goes into payroll, it never comes back out.
Okay, so that's
unless you
where,
cut flesh.
That's where I thought I could make it up there.
uh,
That's where I thought I could make it up.
no, you can't make it, you see, once you move that out of that line item, it's gone.
I didn't know.
If it's, one-time thing, it's okay, but it's,
Tish chose to move all of them out this year, all of them, because of us getting that commitment, but we don't know we're gonna have that commitment every year either. That's one of our unknowns.
So that's a bonus for this year, that's not there.
it's
So
extra
that's-
cash. If something comes along, I didn't even take it out of the police budget, because if something comes along,
You can use it.
it's in there and it can be used for anything, and the council can authorize that to come out of the police budget and be used for anything in the general fund. Or parks for that matter, I mean, because you could transfer that to, Board of Works and use it, for whatever you want it to, so, Mark, and I don't know, they're talking about where the, redevelopment's gonna buy the police cars or spend so much towards police cars this year, and so the police has that in their budget. But again, it's for an item. And if you put it in payroll, then it can never go back and be for items again. And they buy 3 cars a year, I believe.
And what they rotate, yeah, 2 to 3.
And that's pretty much what we've done for several years.
And that's, yeah, we've always rotated out 3. So my thing is, that
Always.
with that amount there, and there, you have no wants anywhere. Correct?
I have no idea.
I know.
I don't know where you're at.
No, what I'm saying, if you take your needs, no raise at all, and give a 3% raise, there's no wants to
Right.
stay within, like, 7,500, which we made a watch by, you could move that 7,500 up to quarantine building
Right.
someplace.
Right, it would be that, so you got an extra 8,100, that, would be not funding anything else, would be not funding anything in those payroll requests. Nothing at the top, that would be nothing at the top,
And nothing on the side.
and, yeah, none of this,
No sanitation,
no sanitation, no,
no promotions.
none of this other stuff. And that would be, yes, right at 3%, and you would not use any new money for that budget, which the new money that I had alluded to would have been the money from increasing property taxes. With that,
And that's a subject all in and of itself.
Pardon?
That's a subject all in and of itself.
Yes.
So. Now, there's we take the animal to wash, we add that 8,100 back, that's 81. There's probably a couple places I could go and find if there was something else there that somebody thought was really important, that we could still balance that. There's some extra money in Board of Works, there's a little extra money in City Hall that could be swung in that direction. Or even hurting more on health insurance.
No, I have it, not till the 10th, but it's a 9% benchmark, is what they told us.
We could squeeze a little out
We
of
don't
health insurance.
Maybe, if we have to get 9,
We
it's
have-
12.
We have 11 budgeted in here, as part of that 108. I can figure that out. On one of these mini spreadsheets.
Sorry, Tish, I always just like to work backwards, because then if you know that, then you can work backwards and figure out what your wants would be.
It's okay. I don't mind. 45. maybe come up with 8,000 there. If we reduce that health insurance to 9%, that's another $8,000. So that takes us up to, I've got a 33, I'm up to 33,000 extra. If,
Do we wish to run everything that short? That's the question that I'm gonna throw out to be, you know.
no, no, that's why they're in there. No, we do.
No, we don't, that's the answer, yeah.
You could split the difference between the 353 and the 474. Add 60,000 to it of that tax dollars. If you were comfortable with that, that would be meeting it halfway. I think it's really good that you guys, I think it's smart for the city to really hold off on adding things, knowing that the less you add, the more power you're gonna have going into these next few years and the more options you're gonna have. When this split situation, as it evolves. The less restraints the city has, the more options they're gonna have.
Okay, well, the way that I look at it, which you all can look at it however, is that you got the 130,500. That's you have, yeah, utilities maybe a little less. We got the quarantine out of there, so that makes that a little bit less, which Tish has already added. We've got the 108 regardless, that comes out without a raise. If you do the 3% there, you moved a few scraps around. So if you don't get the police to where they need to be to try to you can try to hold with promotions, the shift differential, and the detective stipend. So that's 19.2. So you give them 19.2. So do you give the first class, do you give a fireman another part-timer? Do you give a sanitation a part-timer, which then makes that up to 80? Not quite 80, but what do you change? What do you do with? That's the question. You gotta have the promotions at the police department because you don't have it. All you got is a bunch of first-class patrolmen. I think that's 19.2.
You're talking about the sanitation, part-time and full-time.
Yeah, that's bumping for full-time, part-time, full-time.
And that's the need for there at the transfer station in this case.
What did that do to us? It required so much more time. I thought that all this stuff was to save us time and money. And we did transfer at the transfer station.
Yeah.
Well, currently he's a part-timer, right? Is that what they're saying? That
From 9 to 3.
So that's what I was saying. That's why now we gotta look at what we wanna do, because we have a little bit of wiggle room. Tish has found a little bit of wiggle room, which we can add a little bit to the tax base that's coming in, but we don't wanna spend way too much.
No, somebody needs a new computer and take that.
With all these, we've done lots of calculations, or she has.
There we go.
I feel like you've done as many as you did last year.
Oh,
You have, huh?
Yes.
Behind the scenes.
Yes, lots. There were lots of questions asked. Yes, okay. The 19.2 for the police. And you're looking at doing sanitation in there, and I don't know what you're looking for fires. And
It's a raising his part-time hour or rate or whatever. 21.6 was the part-time. or the-
206, okay, let me do that. 206. Okay, those things add 8. 260.
Kevin, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, does that make sense to what we're talking about right there?
Yeah. Yeah, I was writing it down as you were saying it. I'm taking some notes here.
Okay. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, the thing about, yeah, I know where we're at with the police and fire. I know that that's a competitive situation there. So, I mean, I think that's one of the things that we got to try to figure out a way to do it. As far as taking the part-time to full-time, I just would question how much we really need to do that when we're already in a tight situation with this other.
So we can leave that off.
On the full-time, that 90's going on, is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think we can, can't we do, that's a,
We're scratching
we're
pennies now,
scratching
let's
pennies
scratch
now.
that.
I mean, that's what I
That's
say, if we
what
could
I'm
get if we could raise his part-time money, that kind of covers that, gets him at least more part-time hours. I just don't think we afford a full-time firefighter and
We take the animal, that's a wash, stormwater and health insurance is 16,000. And then you add these, so if we go in at those scraps from stormwater and a couple percent in health insurance, that gets us back to a balance of about 16,000 or over. So then if you did the police, all the things that they asked for, those three items,
the promotions, the shift
Yeah.
differential and detective.
that's 19.2. The fire 21.6 and the sanitation from part-time to full-time, that puts us at 66,000 that we need. That would be into that magic 120,000 of your tax dollars. And if you wanted to, adjust, if I take so of those three items, that's 66. I take
How you coming up with that 66?
negative 66.
Negative.
Oh,
66.
negative, I'm
Not-
sorry, I was
no,
adding.
it's not.
Negative
It's
Okay,
66.
okay.
So negative 66, and that's into that 120,000. So yes, you could fund all those, but that's in that money that would increase the budget. If we take the police off, that takes it to negative 47. So you're only spending 50,000 of that. If we take sanitation off, you're only in 25,000 basically into that money. And if you take the fire off, you're at 45,000 into that money.
Now, on the fire, was that up in his part-time is all we were doing there?
Yeah, the 21.6 is just upping his part-time line item.
Right. So basically, we got a choice, for the most part, we're looking at 21 for the fire, we're looking at 25 for sanitation, and the whole part-time realm. The part-time and sanitation is gonna go to full-time, so it's gonna add 25,000 there though, right?
No,
42,
42,
yes.
okay.
But if we
Well,
took,
from 27.
well, no, that it's
No, it will be 42 on
on
top
top
of
of the
20.
27 too. So if you just kept it at a part-time there, then you're only over 22,000 or negative 22,000. Am I right?
Yes, 25.
25-ish.
Yeah.
Which cuts into it, so our tax base would still be 100,000 plus.
Right, we'd still have 100, that 120, we'd be into that a little
A
bit.
little bit.
Yeah.
But that raises the fire and the police up on their two things that they ask.
And then to keep the fire and the police at the same pay, right?
Well, it raised it to 3%. They'd get the 3%. It wouldn't jump up to what they wanted. It'll be the same percentage that the whole city gets.
Right.
plus their promotions. That will count in, and when I spoke with one of the councilmen, and after we looked at everything and all the unknowns, I know we're doing this to attract new officers. that would add another 2,400 a year on that first class patrol pay. If you would give them those promotions, as Richie stated, that gives them, and that would get them much closer to the 60,000, and then come back to the board next year and see if any of these unknowns have been settled. When I mention unknowns, I meant Senate Bill 1, if we will get a commitment from RDC again, the must, what's gonna happen in 2 years with that, with the lit. So there's just a lot of unknowns.
Is everybody comfortable with a 3% raise across the board?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want anything any less.
Okay, so we're good with that.
Yeah, I'm
Last
good with
year,
that.
we couldn't afford that at all, but then we started hiring people for a new department and stuff, so. I mean, we gotta keep the people happy, what we got, I think.
Okay, so we're good with that part. We're good with that. We know we got 108 and we know we got 100, well, it's not 130 anymore, but I'm using that number because you're taking 75.
Right.
So 123, roughly. So are we good with the police department requesting for the detective stipend, the double shift, and the promotions at 19.2?
What does the stipend program, what does that include?
So like if he gives, so in this monthly, that 300, if he goes and has somebody that's doing detective work, they get a stipend for the detective work. So then if he doesn't like him being detective anymore, he's not doing what he does, he can take that stipend away from him. It goes per month,
And we pay them quarterly.
and they pay him
So
quarterly.
she can-
So that they can change out. That's just like the shift differential. If somebody's on night shift and then they come to day shift and they do somebody else, they can take that shift differential away from them. So that's what those are.
And sometimes the ones that have been there longer, if they're on night shift, they still get that shift differential. But most times, where you start out when you're beginning, it's most times the first class patrolman. But due to the short force at this time, I know there's been some of the others but it's 100 a month.
Looking at things, all areas are short. Short officers ain't what the state's even.
It's,
You just don't have, it's got nothing to do with as much as the money is, you just don't have the young people applying for it.
Also, Tim, I will tell you back to that comment that you made, when we do our salary ordinance, and you will see, we calculate how many people are budgeted in there. In any of our budgeted departments, now the rate-based ones, we don't tell them what's calculated, but Tisha started doing a calculation now to show all of how many are in each line. Correct, I was telling them about our salary ordinance, that nobody's hired if we don't have money for them.
The salary ordinance that was approved last year, I'm sorry, I just jumped in on this, has the number of positions on it. And it also says on it if it was unfilled.
So it's on there.
So when you approve the salary ordinance, you approve the positions also. The number of positions, not the people, but the number of positions.
We don't want them hired if there's no money. So the last thing I want to do is come to you all for an additional appropriation, so. Because of lack of proper planning, preventing problems.
So I'm okay with, if we don't do the full-time sanitation, do the part-time firefighter, raising his hours and doing that stipend. Now, I don't know about the media stipend and the clothing allowance down there. But we're talking, if you give the media stipend base down there and the clothing allowance, then you're talking that we're gonna go into that money about, what, 30,000 roughly?
That's
Yes.
33.
Yeah, so we're gonna be right around coming in, bringing in 95 to 90, let's just say $90,000 is what we're gonna bring in. So we're into it a little bit.
What is that media stipend?
That is a stipend that has been
It's a
paid.
contract. It was
It's a contract. And the mayor has requested that that be added on to that person's pay, and she would no longer be under contract. And that is really better on the city side because we will only be paying $1,400, where in the past we paid $6,000. They do the
Okay.
splits and the way that position is paid according to their job description. So that is really a savings to the city because past years, several past years, that has been paid at $6,000.
And what is that? What's that job that they do?
It was a media stipend with, I can't remember
It's
the
the
name.
same contract as the
But it's a
8,000.
contract.
It's the same contract as the 8,000. So the person, there was somebody getting paid that for 6,000. And that wishes to be added to that person's salary, and then somebody new was given that contract at 8,000.
But what function do they do for the city?
I would have to look back, Mayor, can you answer that? It's all about, what I was hearing was the website and promoting events within the city.
Yeah, that's, and they're the ones that's always on call 24/7, so if you have a water boil advisory, they do all of that.
They're city employees, correct?
Yes.
And this is outside their job description.
And it's outside their job description, but they are city
Due to their
employees.
skill set.
Okay.
Somebody good with that?
Yeah, are you good, are you good with those down there, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just was curious what that was. I couldn't figure out how that related, so I understand.
So that's what, if we do that, if we don't do the part-time labor for the sanitation,
The full-time.
or the full-time, we keep the part-time where they're at, that saves us 42. We don't do the first-class firefighter at 90,000. And then we don't have the first-class patrolman base for those 6, that's out of there. So you do those tidbits, you're roughly negative, 30,000 roughly. I know you gotta do it if it quit beeping at you.
I am not enjoying this. Okay, let me see. The only other, okay, it's a negative 33, negative 33. Yeah, net right at 28,000,
Okay,
negative
yeah.
28.
So negative 28 out of that, and we're projecting that will be over 100, but,
Right.
so we'll go into the tax base a little bit of what our new money's gonna be with those. We still have ones on that first page. A lot of them are fuel contracts. That's the 24/5, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, fuel is always a change,
Yeah, never know about that.
and you never know about fuel, and depending on how much you put in there, it could come back to the fund at the end of the year, and just, where are they running right now?
They're doing okay. The numbers that are used are always used the, like, May or June,
Yeah.
based on the consumption over the previous year. And so realize those numbers would have been the highest numbers of the year, because that's when gas prices were at their highest.
So we
So-
have,
There's some allowance there. You would, if you said, no, we're not gonna do that, everybody would still be able to drive their vehicles. It just might not, they might be getting a little, getting
Close.
tight.
Because it fluctuates, like Tish said, and when she calculated it, it was at its highest price. Now, when you look at your appropriation report and you're going to see the fuel line, well, most of those departments aren't showing it for the whole year from what I saw.
Right.
Because I was thinking, why did she do that? But it's that she bases it on 1 month when it was the highest. So if she says she feels comfortable striking off those
Yes.
fuels, we can.
That's why I was asking when it was calculated, because then you can kind of guess that you could play with fuel sometimes.
Yes. But you might see it again next year.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying, if we need to come,
This
yeah.
may be an introduction to something that comes back next year.
So we're striking $8,000 fuel.
8,000 and 3,200 for a fire truck, above it. So you don't need those two. So then
The
you have,
only reason I was asking for $250 in office supplies is since we moved out here, we're now splitting those supplies differently. And more of what each place uses, like myself and the mayor, we're taking it out of our budget. Used to, we split it among everybody because we work for everybody. So we tried to take on a little more of that. So in doing that, that's why I'm asking for that $250, and the mayor's asking he's got a monthly copier fee that for the year it's $400. So those two things are why you're seeing those.
400 for the year, 400 for the month.
The year, she's putting it's a copier monthly fee, so we're asking to increase the services $400.
oh, so
in that line.
it covers that whole.
It's
year.
it's $35 a month. Yeah, I can see why that was, because Rick had asked me
Yeah, so
to, that,
that's-
look, yeah, you might think, gosh, we don't, we watch
Oh, it's
money
much
closer
closer.
than that.
Yeah, it's not, it's, yeah, for the annual fee for the monthly, sorry, I should change
Yeah.
that, I should change that, copy the annual fee. Sorry.
What's the $6,000 for tables and chairs for room 126?
Down at the bottom, at the very, very bottom, it's the
Sure.
second item from the bottom.
That is one of the rooms that we rent quite a bit, and it needs new tables and chairs. It's the one that even when this was considered the Mass Park instead of City Hall, it's one that is rented frequently. So we've requested that, and we were able to be able to tap into some of those where we saw there was extra. So without including that, just, in answering your question, so you know what it is, but as far as that impacting what number you all are trying to come up with, it doesn't.
They already have that.
Mhm.
So then we're to the promotional fee, raise it from 30 to 35,000. It's one of those years that I just don't know. Mayor, can you continue to work with 30,000 instead of 35 for the additional promo funds this year?
I think so.
Okay, so scratch that. What about the social media contract? Is that negotiable, or is that what we've said we would do?
Currently, that's being paid out of miscellaneous services. Miscellaneous services has 13,000 in it. And they are negative as of June 3rd.
So they're not good, they're done. That's miscellaneous services is done for the year, so they're gonna be shortfall. Move
It's
something.
gonna have to come from somewhere else. The contract was more than
Then what was
line
budgeted
that
in the
was
line item.
staying.
Okay.
That's also the same line that when we said that the depot has extra expenses that come in, that's the same line that
That
those
is
get
services.
charged.
So the Bacala Center,
Yeah, I
That's
keep
the
saying
one that
depot,
we,
Collins Center.
Yes, that keeps on.
yes.
So add the 250 for office supplies, add the 400 for the copier. What do you got?
There is the Blue River contract. Didn't utilize that yet. The Blue River contract is,
Transportation.
right, it has gone down. We have 8,250 that the contract has gone down.
The contract is dropped.
Right.
Okay.
That's one of those numbers that I was holding off to the side because of things that might come up. If you wish to put that line item in for that social media contract, that would be just a wash. That 82 would come right there. If that's something you wish to do, or the other thought along the same lines, that's 13,000, and currently it's being paid for the CALA stuff and the other social media contract and that social media contract. So both of those, there would be less money coming out of there, so they might be able to make it without adding any.
Adding, so that could come from that one. So we could basically almost make that a wash with the Blue River Services
Okay.
contract.
I could pull that, because I was gonna put that in with the election expenses if we didn't
We
have to
didn't
use it, if we didn't have to use it for something else.
So you're gonna move that from Blue River.
So if you move that over, we're just adding 650 off this line items over here. This one and that
Yes.
one. So
Mayor,
that's,
that still leaves 6,000 in there for Blue River for next year, which is what we've been told.
Okay.
so that gets us to negative 29,000. I don't know, I'm just throwing a number out there.
Yeah, we're 28, we're at 28, 6, 7, yeah. Still less than 30, yeah,
So less than 30, that still
We're
gets
taking
us,
away from that new money.
new money.
that's,
That will be
that's,
added
that's
to-
from new money.
New money, that will be grabbing new money to.
Sorry. But still leaves us about 90,000 of new money.
Yes, yes,
And I feel comfortable with that because in the past, when we looked at cash reserves early on after we had the circuit breaker, and that was our first unknown, we would always spend a third of our extra money, and then we knew we'd never be broke. So it's kind of, when I look at this new money, and we hope that next year we will have more new money with the construction that's going on around here. That hopefully that will be up next year, so.
and there are the cash reserves, the city has cash reserves, it's just that they will go so quickly when that lit hits.
If we
And
don't
so
set-
anything that you can kind of hold off, and once that situation is decided upon, whether it's gonna be must, or the city's gonna go on their own, or if by any chance the state would increase that cap of 1.2 for cities and towns to do, if that would just come up 0.5%, it would be huge, difference.
And we've got 2 legislative sessions to live through before we really know what's going to happen. So I don't want to say to anybody the sky's falling, but I do think we're being conservative in what we have. We have what we have because we've been conservative.
Well, that's just a fourth of it, so that's what I'm saying, we got 3/4 of what we kept,
Right.
so that's add on, so next year we'll know a little bit more.
In addition, we have cash reserves, so.
Yes,
Yeah, it's not like, the cash reserves, as we stated in our first meeting, will go very quickly if something doesn't work out with the lit, that we would then be broke in 3 years.
3 years,
yes.
and that comes flush.
Yes.
So when we go through this, we are doing the raise at 3%.
Yes,
We are doing all the things on the need list,
except for the
We're doing
7,500, which you already taken off.
the non-raise. I've got a few credits in here that we're getting from stormwater, health insurance, and the animal. And then we're doing the police, those 3 items,
Yes,
fire part-time, those 2 items at the bottom,
yes,
the stipend and the floating allowance. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna fund those couple needs for the mayor's office and the clerk's office.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap. Is that what we have? In terms of things that affect the budget, and then on for the park situation, the rainy day situation, the $30,700 on the things that you guys were all okay with, go ahead and let him spend that on a rainy day, and then for him to come back with a piece of equipment that's not the side-by-side, and maybe on some of those other items, and know that you have that extra cash in there from the 4 items for the animal, which come up to $32,376 to pay that out of rainy day, which would be replaced with the lip. And the stormwater, when they pay that back for the end of the year, that money will be used. That will also be paid out of rainy day. It's just that stormwater is gonna be the cash that replaces it. That $100,000 for the roof for the banquet hall. And those items, the 4 items on the bottom, can be done with the current budget, as they see fit, I don't think any of those numbers were, the 3 numbers, none of those were based on a bid or quote. They were just rough estimates.
We're expecting, we're hearing, I mean, I'm not thinking that signage would be that much. We're hoping, yes, that these are all gonna come in lower because we.
And
like I said,
realize when we talk about the budget, we're talking about expenditures, but then all the numbers from the state that have come in regarding revenue, they're just flat. You know, maybe we're gonna bring in less in the second half of this year than we did last year in the second half, but maybe more next year, but it's basically, you could attribute it to a couple CDs that are coming due. And when they come due, because sometimes they're done for 18 months, sometimes they're done for 6 months. So all the other revenues are pretty flat. Some of them are up, but we have things like cable franchise fees are obviously down. They continue to go down every year. People just do that. We don't have those fees. That cable franchise is not what it used to be. So maybe that's gone down. The tax rate this year was lower. Therefore, in lieu of taxes was down 17,000, would be down 34. In lieu of taxes is what the utilities pay the city because they're non-profits, because we own them. In lieu of taxes, since they're not paying property taxes, those numbers are down this year, but then they're offset by maybe a little bit more revenue somewhere else. But overall, those numbers are very flat. And that's all I have on that.
So you're pulling the 7,500 off of the 14.
Yes, she said we could find it in a wash.
Right, that's, we're gonna
It's a
put 30,
one-time.
it'll be in the budget for 30,000, but it's not gonna cost the city 30,000.
Other entities are paying.
Right. Right.
a third.
And it's a one-time thing, it's not ongoing.
And again, that all has to be built by state specs, because, yeah, it's gotta be a 20 by 20, and as we looked into all that, as we were trying to shave financing, to, the cost to begin with. There's always one more layer, it seems like, but yeah.
Kevin, that sound good to you, what we read off?
Yeah, I think all sounds real good.
Okay. Mark, you good?
Yep.
Rick?
Yep.
Timmy?
I'm fine.
Okay.
We'll get rid of that stuff.
I do want to tell the council that the family that did give us the estate donation, we're gonna put a plaque up down there and let you all know and thank the family of Wilma and Marvin Ritchie. That's where the money came from. Y'all might remember them, grew up with them. Wilma was a Bailey, and her sister has been very gracious to remember the animals, so we do thank them.
Joy,
Joy was a sister, yes.
Joy, right.
Okay, yeah, Wilma worked at Walmart. Yeah.
Don't know them all life.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So if you see them out on the street, please thank them.
I don't know there's any of them around here anymore, is there?
Yeah, Barb is, yeah. Are we- Oh, yeah, we're gonna shut up. We will then adjourn. Thank you all so much. I'm sure we've put a lot of work into this. It's probably been our hardest budget that we've ever done. Do you second that, Tish?